guys, this is Shannon, and what you are looking at is my garden space. We are currently not using the garden space. We have mowed it and tilled it, and it is sitting empty at the moment. I would love to have a garden going in here right now, but that's just not feasible. So with these uncertain economic times and feeling the need to prepare a little bit more, I wanted to get a garden going up closer to the house. Eventually, this is going to be an all raised bed garden. I have all these IBC totes, and I have the frames for the totes over there, and we're going to get some more plastic pallets like what all of these pavers are sitting on, and I will have a movable raised garden bed in here. But with the way meat prices are going, this may end up being a pig pen for a little while or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure, but right now it's going to remain empty. What I do have is some of these smaller IBC totes that are cut down into quarters. And I was sitting here racking my brain. I was going to go pick up some big planters or something, but I didn't really want to spend the money on something like that. And I was thinking, what can I do that is quick, easy, and cheap? And I saw these guys over here and I thought, you know what? I can move these up close to the house and turn them into a small like victory garden. I've been watching a lot of the other homestead channels lately, and they're talking about prepare, prepare, prepare just in case. So I think this is going to be my just in case provision for some fresh food for my family. And it should be relatively easy for me to get them set up and quick. And by them being only a quarter of the depth of all of these great big IBC totes, it should not take as much manure and dirt and compost and everything to fill them up. So I'm gonna grab a couple more of these, toss them onto the forks of the tractor, and get them up to the house and find the perfect location for them. Okay, I did not measure this space, but it looks like 6 of these beds are going to fit perfectly here. I still have this section right here. I can put 2 more there. Sorry, I'm out of breath. It is 90s. It is hot. It is like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm doing this in the dark. So this is just along our back porch, and I used to have like azaleas and stuff here, and we ripped them all out and just left it mulched for a long time. But eventually all those pavers we have out there are going to take the place of this. So I have them at a little bit of an angle, and I have a couple of the pavers at the back corner to lift them up off the ground. So if I were to need to move them, I can come right in here with the forks and just scoop them up and move them if this doesn't work out. So I think this is going to work. One thing I am going to do, these are very sharp pieces of metal along the edge. I probably am going to get some either pool noodles or some of the plumbing insulation and just run a strip along the top of these sharp metal pipes, so that as I'm leaning over and working on it, I've already cut the crap out of myself once, so that way I won't keep scratching myself and cutting myself on rusty metal. So I think this is going to work. And I have tons of leaves in our dog pen up here that we use for extra for chickens. And I mean, it's a couple feet deep, so I'll put a layer of leaves in the bottom, and then I'll put mulch and put topsoil, and I will have raised garden beds ready to go. Okay guys, 6 beds fit. Sorry it is so dark. I am working in the dark, and I just brought a pallet up of mushroom compost, chicken bedding that has been removed. I just put it all in a box, and it's been sitting for like a week, and some topsoil, and I have more stuff out there, and I have a bunch of rabbit manure. So over the next few days, I am going to work on getting these beds filled, starting some seeds, and I may pick up a few plants from the store so I can go ahead and have something that has a little bit of growth on it in the beds, and we'll see how this progresses. Guys, it is the next day, and using just what I had on hand, this is stuff I had from a couple years ago, some bags of composted manure, some mushroom compost, and then one clean out of the chicken pen that I had done a couple weeks ago. I had a whole box of it. I had enough to fill these. Now I did put a layer of cardboard down on the bottom, and then some fill dirt that is not great dirt at all, but it's what I had. I have a big mound of it out on the back of the property. So this is going to be our experimental victory garden. So 3 of them are pretty much ready to go. I may add a little bit more like topsoil in on these guys, but these 3 in the back definitely need a lot of help. I threw 1 bag of mushroom compost in between them, and it's just kind of dissolving in. Got to break them up. Some of it had gotten hard because it's been sitting for a long time. But now I'm itching to go buy some plants and get them started. But I need to go ahead and get the other bed set up. Got to go buy some more stuff, and we'll see how it goes. Just mention where I put them. This gets early morning sun and then filtered afternoon sun. I think it's about 4 o'clock right now, and so it's pretty much in the shade, but it does get some filtered as the day progresses. You can see our line of light right here where it has where what's in the shade now. So I think this is a good spot for it. It's so hot in June in Florida that I think by it just getting morning sun and in the afternoon just some filtered sun and then shade, hopefully these guys will do okay. Well guys, I had to come get some plants and some more filtered. If you can see that out the back window, I decided to just run to Ace and get what I needed. Wiped a layer of dirt off, changed my t-shirt, threw on a hat. Now we're gonna go grab some plants and dirt. All right, so my truck smells great. Not too much in the way of availability, which I really thought that was going to be the case. This late in the season, there's just not that much except for tomatoes, peppers, and herbs. So that's essentially what I got. I think I did get an eggplant and a butternut squash and 1 or 2 other items. But mainly that. I have seeds I'll start, and I'll definitely go ahead and put sweet potatoes in the ground. A little late for sweet potatoes, but our growing season is so long, I think that they'll be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and get home, and I did go to Ace, Tractor Supply, Home Depot, and Lowe's. So that's most of the places in our area that sell vegetables, and it was the same everywhere. So I have my manure, I have my compost and my potting soil. Ace was sold out of one of the things I want, but they will have a shipment in on Tuesday, so I'll go pick up a few more bags of that. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and get home and finish putting the beds together. I know this looks totally rigged. I actually pulled these out of the metal pile. They were going to the dump, but I figured they had 1 more season left in them. So they are zip tied and unbent and we'll just use them for 1 more season, and then they'll go to the metal pile. Cowpeas are planted all in this area, and right along here and right along here are cucumbers. 1 row of Armenian cucumbers along the back of the bed to use this trellis. There are 2 rows of beans to use this trellis. This bed is empty. Well, not completely empty. Right here are cucumbers to be able to use my wagon wheel here as a trellis. The rest of this bed here are cowpeas, and then these are all store-bought. I have cucumbers. I have a cucumber in the back in the middle, zucchini on each end. These guys are butternut squash in the front, and then tomato, 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 and then those 3 are peppers over there. I have 2 bells and a banana. So I want to get sweet potatoes, I think, in the empty bed, or I may end up doing sweet potatoes in a drum. I still have a bunch of drums, so I may do sweet potatoes out by the garden because they love direct sun. So I may end up doing that and plant something else in this empty bed, and then I still have space available in the front of this bed and this bed to plant other things that I can go ahead and get started. So it has been 1 week since I set these beds up, and we're starting to see a little bit of progress. I still haven't planted all the beds yet. I just have one little row back here. If I remember correctly, those are going to be cucumbers and green beans, and I'll need to start some strings, some trellises going down here for them. But these guys are popping up. Cucumbers are popping up here, and then these are the cowpeas. I do remember that. So squash and zucchini and a cucumber there, and then tomatoes and peppers here. These guys aren't doing as well growing as some of the other things, so I may put a little bit of fertilizer in here to them and help them out. But I still have to plant a little bit more, but at least it's something's in the ground. We did go and pick up some plastic pallets, so once I have them set up on the plastic pallets, I'll give you another update. Okay, if you can hear me, we decided we're going to go ahead and put all of these on plastic pallets. We took off the metal frames, and this way we can move them wherever we want. So in the winter, if we needed more sun, we could move them out. Or like now in the summer, it really needs to be shaded more. So we'll be able to move our garden beds around. And like I said, I believe in another video, in the end, this is going to be, the big garden is going to be like this also. All of the beds are going to be on plastic pallets so that we can move each and every pod. And by taking this off, I can flip it around and have the pointy sides down, and it'll still help keep the shape. All right, guys, I don't know how well you can see. It's almost 9 o'clock at night. And these guys look a little bit beat up. Next time when we set up the big garden, we will absolutely have the plastic pallets underneath so that we don't have to tilt these guys and move them all around. So I'm hoping that they're going to settle back down. Everybody will sink their roots back in, and everyone will keep growing, because they look a little sad at the moment. But I'm hoping that that they will do that. I went ahead and planted onion sets all amongst my tomatoes and peppers, and then I mounded the tomatoes, cut them back a little bit, gave them another dose of eggshells around it, and added a little bit more compost around the cucumber here, and I staked everything. I went ahead and took those cages down for now and just did stakes, and I may end up going back and putting the cages later, but for now the stakes are just a neater, cleaner look. And these rebar stakes were under here holding down wood. It was all rotted. We went ahead and just ripped all that up. I've got a pile of it over here. So all that is going to go actually into compost, because it's not pressure treated and there's no chemicals on it and there's no metal in it. So it can go at the bottom of some of my grow beds for like a hugelkultur type thing. So hopefully things tomorrow will perk back up some. These are cowpeas all in here, and I went ahead and started running some strings just to kind of direct the plants where I want them to go, because they keep wanting to go to the east behind me, because that's the way the sun is, and they keep wanting to all direct that way. So they're not climbing in the direction I want them to climb. So I'm kind of making them climb in the direction, I'm coaxing them to climb in the direction I want them to climb. So all of these are going to be cucumbers, and hopefully they will climb the wheel. And I have a cucumber here, and zucchini, and then these guys are butternut squash. And then I have just a couple of rows of okra. Chris doesn't love okra. He'll eat it if I cook it a certain way. but he doesn't love it. So I just have a couple of little small rows, and we'll see what happens. This is the red okra. I think it's called crimson something. These are from seeds I saved last year. You can literally see the 2 seed pods there. I just planted 2 seed pods worth, and we'll see what comes up. So these cucumbers are going to be directed up the wagon wheel. And then I've got this area where I can still plant stuff. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in yet, but I need to go through my seeds. I just haven't had a chance. And then here are green beans. I know I've totally rigged it with all different kinds of string, but it's just what I had on hand. These metal posts are the posts that were actually on the bottom of these metal frames. And so I'm just repurposing them. They're not going to rust, and just directing the green beans in the direction I want them to go. And same thing here. I have more cucumbers, and I am just directing them towards the frame so that they will climb up the lattice. I have a couple sweet potatoes just tucked in the dirt here. You can see they're starting to put out some sprouts, and when they get big enough, I will clip them off, put them in water, and then plant the sweet potatoes. Yes, super late in the season to be doing it, but we have a really long grow season here in Florida, and I think I'm just going to pull a couple of my washer drums and throw them in there and put them out in the field where they're going to get more sun, more direct sun. And I just canned up a bunch of pineapples, so I just have the pineapple tops just sitting here for now until I get their pots ready so that I can get them planted. But if they just sit here, the bottoms will stay damp, they won't rot, and maybe tonight, it just depends. It's after 9, and we still haven't done dinner, so I don't know if I'm going to get to that tonight or not, but whenever we are ready, we can just pick all of these beds up and move them by having them set on these plastic pallets. If you have a tractor with forks, this is going to be the most easy, convenient grow bed system, because if we find that they are not getting enough sun here, then I'll just take them and move them to a different place on the property. Like, we thought about putting them over here kind of under the oak trees. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. They seem to be doing okay right here. We know they're not going to stay here permanently because we're going to be putting pavers all under here and having like a pavered walkway and pavered all along the edge of the deck, and nice planters up here eventually in the future, one day. But for now, they're here. So I hope this helps you guys, and I'll come back tomorrow and show you what it looks like during the day so you get a little bit better idea. But if you want a portable garden, this is the way to go. So we just had about 4 hours of torrential downpours, no power, and my garden took an absolute beating. The water was overflowing the beds. It was just coming down so hard, floating plants away. I'm not sure what is going to make it. These were 2 rows of okra. Don't know what happened there. Flattened all the cowpeas, and some of them have floated out over the top. I think the squash and the zucchini will come back, but it definitely took a beating, as did all of my tomato and peppers and the pineapples I had just started. So I'm gonna have to work on this after work today. Okay guys, it has been, I don't know, maybe a month since I planted these beds, and some things are doing better than others. We have had torrential rains every single day for about a month, and then temperatures over high 90s, close to 100, super high humidity. So some things are doing okay, some things are doing awful. I'm actually going to be transferring some of the tomato plants out of here that are like this. They are so long and leggy. There's just not enough depth in these for the tomatoes. So sorry, my phone rang mid thought. So some things are doing really, really well, like this bed right here. This is cowpeas, and then I have some cucumbers planted in here, and you can see the cucumbers are just climbing and doing really great here. But over here, this cucumber was doing well. It was going along the top, and then I think it just drowned out. So too much heat, too much rain. I'm gonna see if anything happens. Same thing with my butternut squash. They were gorgeous. There were flowers everywhere on them, but just so much rain. And I have drilled holes so that they drain. It just filled up too fast. So things that can handle the rain and the heat are doing well, like these. So I'm going to be transferring some of these tomatoes into some buckets so that I can give them some deeper root system and see if I end up with fall tomatoes from them. And over here, some things are doing okay. Like this tomato plant is doing great. The other tomato plant's not doing so hot, and I need to tie that one up a little bit. And I have some cucumbers that are just being leggy, and some squash that are coming up here. So some things okay, some things not. These are green beans that are starting to climb, starting to flower. They're doing okay, not great, but okay. But I planted a variety of carrot that are very shallow, like round carrots that I put here that I think will do well. One of the issues I had is the day that I planted, late that day, we got hit with a storm that popped up and just washed my seeds everywhere. So they were all nice and neat, but they're kind of just everywhere now. So some of them are kind of bunched up, and I'm just letting them do their thing. The same thing happened over here. You can see I have some beets coming up. I had some shallow beets, and I have, if I remember correctly, I think I have some collards over here. And so this bed, not doing so hot. These on the back were Armenian cucumbers, and some of them actually have little flowers and stuff on them, but they just did not grow well. Armenian cucumbers are supposed to handle the heat, but I think just the sheer amount of rain we have had, they ended up getting really leggy and just not going anywhere. So I may let them go a little bit longer, but I just don't know if anything's gonna happen. And then I have been using just the edge over here to grow some sweet potato slips. Now this potato, put them both in at the same time. This one has just rotted and turned to mush. This one I have been constantly pulling slips off and rooting them in this cup, which I may have one in here right now. I probably have at least 20 slips. Yeah, this one, it's growing roots, rainwater filling the cup up. I'm not watering anything, and I'll snap these guys off soon and add them to the cup and grow some roots, because I have one more washer bin out there that I'm growing in. So like I said, I'm working on some larger raised beds, and I'll be posting that video soon. But for now, this is a great temporary solution. I'm gonna plant more beans. I'm probably gonna end up pulling a bunch of this stuff and some of the tomatoes. The onions are doing fine. Some things are doing great in these shallow beds, some things are not. But at least I'm growing something. And the cool thing is they are on pallets. I can pick them up and I can move them wherever I want to take them. And it's 100% portable. So shallow things are gonna do great in these beds. They're set up, they're ready to go. Nice, simple, and easy. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a couple of buckets here. I wanna go ahead and get my tomatoes transferred and them growing, and then clear out this bed, clean it up, and get something else planted in here so I can make use of space. All right, guys, hope you're having a great night. Make sure to leave me a comment down below if you found anything interested or have any questions. I will do my best to answer them. Have a great night.